You okay getting up those stairs? Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Harris. When Bob came into country music, we suddenly realised we only had our own whispering person as well. The Yanks may have whispering Bill Anderson, but we have whispering Bob Harris. Thank you, Bob. The history of country music on the BBC. The national broadcasting media goes way back to the 40s. Back in the 40s, it was all big bands, and it was Henry Hall, Rick Sylvester, Rick Winston. Now, pictures used to be up the staircase in Bush House, and it started off way back then. We used to get a little bit of country music on there. Charles Chilton and the Sons of the Prairies on the Saturday. Big Bill Campbell's Rocky Mountain Rhythm Show. That came out on the home service when you probably had an accumulator on your radio. And then we had people like Murray Cash riding the airways and changing the style of country music as it came through with the American country of the day. A 2-hour show, Country Meets Folk. Jim Lloyd doing the folk part, his wife Frances Lane, she became head of Radio 2 and kept the specialist shows. And of course, the Hall of Famer Wally Whiten, who if you look on the Ritz over there, significantly is just above you, which I think is absolutely wonderful up there. And David Allen took over for a short spell in between, and then the transfer came to Pebble Mill, and the BBC suddenly needed a new presenter. They looked, and who were they going to have? A man with knowledge of music as it went right back, a man who'd been on Radio 1, a man who'd been on television, the old grey whistle test, a legend in his time, late night Saturdays, late night Sundays, late night Fridays, music there that came through, was whispered through the night, and he was playing. And you didn't realise at the time, if you were listening to Bob Harris in those days, he would play things like the Eagles, the Byrds, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, Pure Prairie League. He went on for that lead singer, Vince Gill, said he's wonderful. The New Riders of the Purple Sage. Grant Parsons became a great favourite, and a lady who he's still great friends with, Emmylou Harris, still started it all off. He picked up some tremendous great music, and he became one of the great stars of British radio, one of the great icons of British radio. I think he stands somewhere at one time when Wogan was sitting at the top of Radio 2. Who was next to him, the most popular man? Mr. Bob Harris. He was there. And he was voted International Broadcaster 2004. Thank you, Bobby Bice, from the CMA for that award going to him. He is sat on the panel of the American Music Awards in 2008. He has a fellowship for music from the University of Northampton. Bob Harris has single-handedly, almost nationwide, created the recognition of music in the left field. Music that you listen to, music that you love. Some people call it Americana, some people call it country music. And he describes Nashville as his spiritual home. He introduced us to such delightful ladies as these Secret Sisters. And he came and said, I discovered these. He went to Nashville and he picks up some wonderful acts that he tells us all about. North Carolina, he trolls through the clubs there until he comes up for the great ones. For his past work in promoting country music, mainstream, left field, for his work in promoting in the United States of the British country market, his encouragement in pushing bands beyond the belief that they can go out and become major broadcasters. Country music goes out to all the other frontline producers. And who do they want to know when they do it? They ring up Bob Harris. You'll hear them all talking to him, and he is the man they all look to. The British Country Music Association is proud to induct Mr. Bob Harris into the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much, Jim.
It's so good to be here, I must say. Thank you so much for this honour. It really does mean a lot. It was interesting just hearing about John Derek in the early days of Radio Luxembourg, because that's where I started first hearing music in the mid-1950s. And when you think that the early days of my record collection comprised people like Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, Ricky Nelson, Jerry Lee Lewis, of course they all had such a strong link with country music. And as we went through into the 60s, particularly towards the end of the 60s with the Graham Parsons inspired Sweetheart of the Rodeo, the Byrds, Johnny Cash's Nashville Skyline, working with Bob Dylan, the Flying Burrito Brothers, and then as we move into the 70s, the kind of stuff we were playing on Whistle Test, Pure Prairie League, the Eagles, New Riders of the Purple Sage, Hot Tuna, and all these other bands. Emmy Lou made her UK television debut on the programme. And of course the theme tune for the Old Grey Whistle Test was Stone Fox Chase by area code 615, which is the Nashville area code. So there is it wasn't a complete surprise when I took over the country show on Radio 2 at the end of the 1990s, but what I discovered when I got to Nashville, exactly as you said, Jim, this is where I sort of touched down into my spiritual home. It's an amazing and vibrant, very warm and incredibly musical community in Nashville, as we know. If you haven't been to Nashville, can I so strongly recommend that you go over there, perhaps for the AMA Awards or the CMA Awards, and soak up the atmosphere, particularly in downtown. Some of the roadhouses, Tootsie's, Roberts, sit behind the Mother Church of country music, the Ryman Auditorium. The Country Music Hall of Fame is just across the road in the square. It's an incredible centre of fantastic music, and I feel lucky, privileged, and quite honestly amazed that 50 years after I first started buying my Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly records, that I'm still right in the heart of it and still very much involved and still loving every minute of it. Thank you, Jim. Thank you to the BCM for this award. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, John. That was your actual introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, just before we goes off stage, I did, when I was talking with Bob beforehand, say to him, and what are you listening to in your car at the moment? And he came back with an answer that was so great. It's probably one of the greatest albums out at the present moment. Ashes and Roses, Mary Shaping Carpenter. Great choice. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Harris.